What's going on, guys? My name is Mike, and this is going to be my brief but thorough prediction of this year's 2015 MLB postseason. So, I don't know if you guys are excited for this season. I don't know if you play fantasy baseball, or maybe it's just one of those things where you were watching a video and maybe this was suggested and you went on a tangent and ended up here. But that's irrelevant. So, I'm going to go ahead and give my predictions both for the AL and NL postseason. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the American League first. From the West, I'm going to go with the Rangers. I think they have enough good starting pitching between Yu Darvish, Gallardo, and Colby Lewis to give them enough length for their bullpen. And then offensively speaking, I think they have more than enough. Like usual, they have a healthy Prince Fielder, they have Adrian Beltre, Mitch Moreland, and then they have some good guys on the bench like Shin-Soo Choo, who can come in and play outfield, steal bases, and he's a good veteran presence. So I think they're definitely a team to look out for this year. Moving on to the Central, I think I'm going to go ahead and run with the pack and have to pick the Tigers. I think they're a pretty stacked team in the American League. Despite them losing like Max Scherzer and not having Justin Verlander, who's been pitching as well as he used to, they still have David Price. They have Simon and they have Shane Green, who they recently acquired from the Yankees, who have been doing an amazing job of late. And I think that's, adding to the fact of their offense and their bullpen. You look at their bullpen and they have soon to be a healthy Joe Nathan, Al Albuquerque, and Jabba Chamberlain, who added with the type of starting pitching they have, which not only is it dominant, but they give a lot of innings. And if you're going to be a lot of innings from your starting rotation, it only makes your bullpen that much better. Add to that, you have some great offensive playing, like from Miguel Cabrera, although he's not as good as he was a few years ago. He's still very dangerous if you leave the pitch down the plate. Alex Avila, Victor Martinez, who's probably one of the better designated hitters in baseball, and then Rajay Davis, who's becoming one of the better table setters, who's like a leadoff hitter who's able to really get a game going like Ricky Henderson used to. In the AL East, you can go ahead and call me biased because I'm a Yankee fan, but I'm going to go ahead and call the Yankees on this one. I haven't called them to win anything in a while, but I think they have a very much improved team from last year, provided they stay healthy, and that's a big if because the AL East is going to be pretty competitive this year. I think they have a healthy CC Sabathia, who's pitching, his velocity has come up a lot from last year, so I think he's going to be a presence. Masahiro Tanaka is one of the best pitchers in baseball, so provided he stays healthy. And then you have Michael Pineda, who is a guy who's just been prone with injuries his entire life, other than his first year. But if you look at the way he's been pitching so far, if he stays on track, he can be a guy who can easily win 15 games. Add that to their offense that they have with a healthy Alex Rodriguez, Mark Teixeira, and Brian McCann. These are enough. This is enough in a small enough ballpark to definitely push for a pennant race. So definitely looking for the Yankees on that one. As far as the wild card is concerned, I'm going with the Orioles and with the Angels. The Angels, who I'm sure a lot of people have probably winning the division, I think, kind of on the same page as the Rangers in a sense. They have exceptional starting pitching for 1 and 2 between C.J. Wilson and Jared Weaver. These are two guys who are probably as consistent as they come. And then as far as offense, they've got a lot of question marks. I think one big question mark is Albert Pujols. I think it'd be kind of unfair to ask him to be like he was in St. Louis. But if he's anywhere even half as good as he was, and he could be a good presence in the middle of the lineup, I think that he would definitely benefit the entire offense. So depending on what he does, I think that will definitely indicate where the Angels end up. And as far as the Orioles are concerned, I think with the new management from Buck Showalter and their new pretty much offense with a lot of home run potential in a small ballpark, I think that they're definitely, if they don't win the division in place of the Yankees, I think they're definitely going to be in the wild card. So those are my AL predictions. Alright, now moving on to the National League predictions. Starting with the West, I think I'd be crazy not to say the Dodgers are going to win. I think they're definitely the most stacked team in baseball right now. Between having, Clayton Kershaw, Zach Greinke, and Ryu in the starting rotation, and then having key players like Yasiel Puig, Adrian Gonzalez, Carl Crawford, they're just beyond stacked. And I think one thing that kind of goes unnoted with them is their bench. Having players like Howie Kendrick and Juan Uribe players a lot of people haven't heard of, but they're utility players who can play a number of different positions. They're guys who can pretty much, because they're veterans, they're better, you can put them in later in the game, and they can definitely give other players rest, and they're pretty much the difference between a team who has the potential of making the playoffs and will. So I think if there's one team that is definitely going to make the playoffs, it would be the Dodgers, provided something catastrophic doesn't happen. For the Central, I'm going to do the opposite and go against the grain and say I think it's going to be the Cubs. Primarily because of the addition of Joe Madden, who I think is, in my opinion at least, definitely the best manager in baseball right now. I think what he was able to do with the Rays over the course of like his 7 or 8 years there, putting him in a place like Chicago, low budget, similar to Rays, if you notice what he did with them, and he pretty much brought a team from a laughingstock to a playoff contending team. I think if you put him in with the Cubs, I think that there's just so much room for improvement. I don't think that the team is equipped with the greatest players, but I think they have a lot of good players where they can definitely make a playoff run, and I think that they're going to wow a lot of people. I think Joe Madden is the kind of manager who will set trends. If you look at certain things like, for instance, the shift, which a lot of managers do now for players who are strictly pull hitters, he started that, and I think he does a lot of things that can definitely push a team into contention, so definitely look out for the Cubs. As far as the NL East, another against the grain, I'm going to go with the Mets this time, and not because they've got off to a good start, because they always do that, and then they always fall. I think their starting pitching this time around is really, really good between DeGrom, Matt Harvey, Bartolo Colon, Zach Wheeler, even though he's hurt now, he's coming back pretty soon, and then you have John Meese. You don't really have much of a weakness here. You have 3 guys who can possibly win a Cy Young, and then another guy who's already done it, and then you have another guy who can easily win, 13 or 14 games in a season. So in the National League, that's a dominating pitching staff, and I think Terry Collins is another very good manager who can definitely put pieces together, and I think that he's done an amazing job so far, provided what he's had. So I'm definitely looking, for the Mets. I don't think the Braves, or the other team that people are looking for, I don't think they're going to be able to last as long. For a whole 162-game season, it's a different story than a month or so. Some of the wild card, I'm going to go for the Cardinals and the Giants. Cardinals almost goes without saying. I'm sure most people think they're going to win the Central in place for the Cubs. They very well might. They have excellent pitching, and they have enough experience. They've done this before. If you look at what they've done a couple years ago, as well as 2006. Team of veterans, they know how to win. So that's definitely a team to look out for. And then the Giants are a team like that. They've won a couple times in the last 5 years. Another team with a lot of good starting pitching. They lost Pablo Sandoval, who was a really good guy in the clubhouse, great defensive player and great offensive player. I think even, despite losing him, I think they still have enough in the tank, and they'll be able to go the long way. So those are my predictions, AL and NL. It's pretty tough to make predictions like this so early in the season because so many things happen between the trade deadlines and managerial changes and injuries and things like that. So it's a little tough, but I think that I'm going to be pretty accurate on this. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.